Good morning, everyone. I wanted to make this video to share my opinions about the difference between self-esteem and self-care. And even though they're related, I think there is a difference between them. And it's actually a difference that I've struggled with pretty much my whole life. So I want to start with self-esteem. And self-esteem is feeling how you feel about yourself internally, inside. And we should feel inside of ourselves unconditionally valuable. That means that you believe that you are special, you are unique, you are perfect the way that you are. And that is developed in childhood, usually at home. You are the shining star of the universe. You are absolutely perfect. And that's how you should feel about yourself. And that's something that I think is really the gift of childhood. Now, there's a really difficult transition between self esteem, thinking you're the center of the world, and transitioning outside of your home into the world. And this is where I had a real challenge when I was a child. When, um, when you get out into the world, you are part of a system. And in that system, you do play a role and you have rights, but you also have responsibilities. So everyone else has their rights as well. And when you are out in the world, you are learning how to function in that system. And there's two ways that you can treat yourself, and this would be self-care. So this illustration I have up here is showing someone who is caring for themselves. They are doing things that are going to help them grow as a person or grow as a citizen. And that would be at your age, going to school, because school is your first job. And it's something that you are doing so that you can later be part of a system, a functional or working part of the system. And that involves some things that involve work. Now, in terms of your self esteem, you could feel wonderful about yourself and you could feel like you're the center of the earth, center of the universe. But once you get into a system and you start learning how to be part of the system, self-care becomes really important because you have a choice. You can start doing things that work for you in the system, and there's simple things that always work. Being responsible always works. Being kind to yourself and others always works. So those would be considered things that are self-caring things to do. If you have a responsibility, take care of it. Try to avoid problems, but if there's a problem, you're part of the solution. And kindness is key, not only to yourself, but to others as well, because the system is affected by your energy and you're affected by the energy system. So you're part of it. Well, so there are things that you can do that are self-caring, responsible, kindness, things like that. And as you get in the system, you learn that. But unfortunately, and this is what happened when I was young, is that when I got out of the home, I would do things that were not so kind to myself in terms of caring for myself. I would not take responsibility for doing what I needed to do to invest in myself. An investment basically means things that you do now that may not be so pleasant that will pay off in the future. It will make your life easier in the future. Kind of like brushing your teeth. It may not be a fun thing to do, but the outcome of that is good. And if you don't do it, the outcome of it is bad. And I did a lot of that when I was in school. I did not take responsibility for myself because I didn't think that I needed to. At home, I just felt so special and I felt so much of the center of the universe. I thought everything revolved around me until it got really uncomfortable. And then kindness. I had this feeling that I could just be whoever I wanted to be in terms of not being so kind and being maybe a little bit selfish, and that everyone was going to swarm around me because I was so important. Well, unfortunately, it didn't work. And because I wasn't caring for myself, I didn't see it. Now, there's an idiom. It's called burying your head in the sand. All right. It means that you just don't even want to see what the problem is because you're not capable of solving it or you don't want to. And I absolutely did that when I was younger. What I did is I didn't do my job outside of the house. I wasn't necessarily being kind to myself or others. And there was a whole bunch of problems that were going around me, but I didn't want to take any responsibility for it. And what I did is I basically was drowning and I was waiting to be saved because that was a really easy thing for me to do. It was just like, well, I just don't have to do anything and I could just let things fall apart. And I'm going to have people just pull me out of it. And what happened is it was developed a really not such a healthy perspective for me, where I thought, well, the more problems I cause, the more attention I'm going to get. But see, it wasn't comfortable for me. I wasn't happy. And what I needed to do was I needed to find a way out of that. I needed a solution. I didn't need a problem and another problem and avoiding the problem. I needed a solution. What I needed to realize is the solution, part of the solution was me. That's what I didn't see. What I didn't see here was the big part of the solution was me. And as soon as I saw that, it was in sixth grade. And I had a wonderful teacher. His name was Mr. Neff. And I'll put him out on the internet. Big shout out to Mr. Neff. And what he did is he showed me respect. Okay. He respected me and he knew how capable I was. So he wasn't very loving to me in the sense that he didn't unconditionally accept everything that I did, like at home, which I needed at home. And everyone does need that. There's a part of that that's needed. But he gave me the respect I needed. And that was, I had a job to do and I was capable of it. So what he did is he helped me take responsibility for myself. And what he did is he just made it where the things that I did that weren't working, he stopped me doing those first. And then he had me to start doing things that were more, he took my self-defeating habits and he stopped those. He made it where it wasn't easy to do self-defeating things. And what he did is he helped me learn self-investing things. And there was a big cause and effect to that. I started doing things that were self-investing, and all of a sudden my life started to change for the better. I started doing better in school. I started doing better with friends. I was even doing better at home. But it doesn't start off all at once. This is what I want you to understand. If this story applies to you, is that it doesn't start all at once. You just don't take one swim lesson and all of a sudden you're swimming in the Olympics. It's a slow process and there's people around to help. And that's exactly what I needed. So I actually did learn how to swim pretty decently after that. Now, did I still struggle with trying to go back to where I felt like life was at home and everything was going to be taken care of me? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I even did that as an adult. But now I realize that we are all together in this experience that we're having. And there's beauty in it. There's joy in it. And there's times where you just float on your back and you spit up water and you get the sun. But there's other times where you need to swim. And sometimes you can't touch the bottom, especially when you get to the age of an adult. You can't touch the bottom. And there's no lifeguard that's going to come out of nowhere and just pull you out of the water. So what I'm trying to get across, and I wish I would have heard this when I was 10, I would have wished that at least the seeds were planted in there, is that you're a huge part of your own success and you are valuable beyond belief. You are so valuable and unconditionally loved, and you are a star of the universe. But we're all stars and we're all valuable. And what's great is we get to share an experience where we can make each other better. Well, in order to make each other better, we have to be connected. In order to be connected, we have roles to play. We have roles to play. When you're young, you learn to value yourself. You learn to care for yourself. When you get older, you learn how to value the system and care for the system, because the system becomes what you care for or what you don't care for. And that creates our reality. So hopefully this video applied to you. Maybe it will be something that you can discuss with your family. Maybe they've had issues like this too. Or I hope in some way, shape, or form that it was of interest to you and that you can share it too. Feel free to share these, all right? So let's have a good day and let's show some self-care based on our self-esteem. Have a good day.